What's up, and welcome to another episode of Black in the Maritimes. I'm Fidel, and we're getting a new format here. We pretty much are going to still talk about blackness in Canada, all over the world, news, pop culture, and different topics. But we are going to do a sort of a news story and more in video. I decided to be on video because this was not my forte, but I guess I got to do it anyways. And we will be improving from day to day, I guess, and things will happen eventually. But for now, we're going to try to be consistent on this. And please subscribe on YouTube, leave a comment. We're going to try to stream this as well. We're going to see what platforms are better, depending on how we get the public and how things go. And again, thank you for being with us all these years. If you're new to this, thank you for listening. This is a spot that we talk about Black news, Black topics, and what it's like to be Black, not only in Canada or in Atlantic Canada, but all over the world, really. So we are going to start with somebody that I'm not a fan. I'm going to be honest with you. I like her music. I do. I'm not a fan. I wouldn't go to a concert and things, but you got to give credit where credit is due, and that is Beyonce. Beyonce just became the first Black woman to reach number one country album in the United States. This is according to CP24. She has did the most streams on Spotify with this album called Cowboy Carter, which has a lot of collaborations with country artists such as Dolly Parton. And again, I'm not a country fan. I'm not even a Beyonce fan, but you got to give credit to credit is due on what she's doing. As a Black woman, Beyonce is reclaiming country music and stands in a position of stereotypical associations with genders in whiteness. Now, if you don't know, and has become a topic, country music has been part of Black culture since the inception of the United States, since the slave trade. And the rhythms and the instruments, like the banjo, which is an African instrument, the rhythms and things as as country music today, a lot of it was influenced by Black people. So that is again, you can Google this, you can YouTube this. This is certain. There's a lot of research on this. It's now that Beyonce, since she is a superstar, has given the credit of it to the people that deserve it. So I definitely want to say that it is a great accomplishment that she has done that. It is a very great accomplishment that she is putting the forefront of country music into the Black sphere. There's another artist that she's an R&B artist, K Michelle. If you don't know her, go ahead. She was on a reality show called Love and Hip Hop. She also did a country album, and she didn't get a lot of exposure for it because I think she's an independent artist at this point. But there's a lot of Black people doing country music. Again, Charlie Pride is one of the best examples. I think definitely on the Blowfish is doing examples of that. And again, there is a lot of the country music that has been influenced by Black people. And it's nice to see, because again, it's nice to see that a lot of people that, think it's a white man's gender, especially white men, because there's a lot of white men in country music. I don't know why. It's not, I'm not going to say diversified because it's always been diversified. We just never been paying attention to it. But it's expanding, and it took somebody like Beyonce, like the star power, to do that. Because again, if you know Taylor Swift, which is like the biggest artist in the world right now, she started with country music, and I think that's what uh, catapulted her to this pop stardom. So now I think Beyonce is putting that recognition back into Black people and those stereotypes. So again, I think it's quite interesting. I haven't listened to the album. I'll be honest with you. I haven't. I listened to the Texas Hold'em song because again, it's everywhere. But I really haven't listened to it. But again, if you like it, shout out to you. Enjoy it, listen to it. Dance to it. Again, Beyonce is a great artist. I have nothing against her. I'm not like a fan, but definitely you got to give credit to credit's due. So now we're gonna go circle up to a little bit of news that is not that happy as Beyonce, but it's still very important. Now, if you don't know, uh, recently was the 30th anniversary of the Rwandan genocide and the reconciliation. It marks 30 years. Now, if you don't know what this is, I highly, highly recommend you to watch a movie called Hotel Rwanda. Don Cheadle is in that movie. It is heartbreaking, and it talks about what happened. And Al Jazeera explains it pretty well. There. This is an article from Al Jazeera that explains it, I think, to the T of what happened. This happened in 1994, and over 800,000 ethnic Tutsis and moderate Hutus were killed by the Hutu regime in Rwanda at the time. If you don't know, there is two tribes in Rwanda, which are the Tutsis and the Hutus. Now, the Hutus are a minority, to my understanding. Tutsis make up about 8.4% of the population, according to 1991 census, and the Hutus make 85%. Sorry. Okay, so my mistake. So the Tutsis are the minority, and the Hutus are the majority of it. Um, and they could not have practice. The Hutus made 80%, but they could not have practice access to education, economic opportunities. Again, this is something that I. It's even hard to, even as I'm reading right now, it's very hard to read. If you hear that, that is our dog Benji. He's waiting for somebody, which is not me. So it is what it is. Again, there has been a lot of tension between these two tribes, and a lot of that has to do with colonialism. Uh, you know, the Belgians, was colonized by Belgium, that's why they speak French. Well, the main language is English, but they used to speak French, and some of them speak French. The Belgians used to use the Tutsis as proxies in the ruling, and that's why they became privileged. So, in this thing, it became kind of a little bit of a, I don't know, how could I say this? This massacre started with colonialism, which is because the colonials uh, kind of, had preference of one tribe and another, and then that triggered the other side. Because when you don't have equality, that happens. You don't blame it on the. There's a meme that says like, there's a rich man and he's talking to a poor white man, and there's a black man. He said like, oh, or an immigrant like, oh, he's taking your job. It's not. It's the head that takes your job because he wants to make more money or automation and things like that. And here it says even what triggers it. The Hutus came in power and they cracked down on the Tutsi during the war, claiming that they were RPF accomplishment. Now, RPF, that is a different, it's a different organization. It's the Rwandan Patriotic Front. That it was sort of a political association with that. And again, this started a civil war, and 30 years later, Rwanda has become a very, very progressive country. It has become a very progressive country. It's one of the countries that is advancing in Africa, to be honest with you. And they just commemorated the 30 years. Now, again, I recently read a book that is called Cobalt Red, and it's about how the cobalt in the Democratic Republic of Congo, which is right next to Rwanda, they're pretty much next to each other, has destroyed the country, how the resources have destroyed, and how countries like Belgium benefited, and then now the Chinese are benefiting, and how the UK benefited, and how the US benefited, but the Congo is still one of the poorest countries uh, in the world. So that's something to tell about. I mean, it's definitely something that you realize that what colonialism is, that you know it passes down. It passes down to people. It passes down to culture. And then when you try to, kind of realize what the hell happened here, it's too late. You, the colonialism is gone. The person that was involved with it is gone, and you try to blame it on somebody else. In this case, again, there has been a lot of tension between them for years since the inception of the country. I will leave the link down below of the Al Jazeera documentation of the article. It's pretty deep. It explains everything you need to know. It even tells you about the number of people. Now they say 800,000. Some people say it's been a million. It's hard to tell because in that area, if this is the what have they counted, but there's people that died and were never noticed. A lot of people try to flee the country and then they died in other countries such as Congo. It's hard to tell really how many people died, but they say it's close to 800,000. Some think people said a million. And I talked to somebody which is from Rwanda, and they said that they are getting along. There's still some type of kind of not bad blood, but indifference between them. So, but it has gotten better over the years. So it's definitely something that we should all think about, that how good we have it in the West, and we don't realize that. And speaking of that, one of the subjects that we talk about right now, which is the hot topic, is the Palestinian Israel war, quote unquote. I don't know if it's a war, to be honest with you, when you kill 250 and the other part kills 30,000. I'm not quite sure, and I don't even know what the angle is, to be honest. What the angle is of what Israel wants. I don't know if they want Hamas to give up. I don't know if they want. I don't have it clear. Please let me know exactly what Israel wants. If they're gonna free the hostage, I don't know exactly, but I mean they destroyed Gaza, and it's kind of crazy that that's happening. And again, that's been a point uh, of news all the time, and that's been a point of news of people being in humanitarian crisis. But one of the countries that don't get that, it's in the same position actually, not necessarily as the Israel Gaza, but it's still has a lot of humanitarian aid and it's in war, is Sudan. Sudan is a country that 25 million people are facing a humanitarian crisis. And this is according to African News. Let's watch this video if you can watch it. I'm going to play it here. And I just saw it. It's crazy how this doesn't get much coverage, but that's what happens when you're black. I mean, if you're black, they don't care. If you're lighter skinned, they might care. So, we're going to watch this video.
As the conflict in Sudan nears its one-year mark, the UN Refugee Agency is warning that over 25 million people are facing a humanitarian crisis with no end in sight.
For Sudan and its conflict going on in Sudan as well. And there's thousands of refugees. Over 8.5 million Sudanese have been forced from their homes. 1.8 million have crossed the border to South Sudan, Chad, and Central Africa, Egypt, Ethiopia, and Uganda. This is according for the United Nations. And again, this has been going on for years. This is not new. What I'm putting here, you can go to African News. It's there. It's not it. And doesn't get zero coverage. None. Like, it's incredible how it doesn't get as much coverage as Israel and Palestine. And it's, again, wars are not great. I don't care if you are in Asia or in America or in Europe. Nobody wants to have war, especially the citizens. But it's amazing how Ukraine, which is suffering a war right now through Russia, how Gaza and Israel are getting and Israel are having this war, and we all know about it, and people are fleeing, and there's sides, and everybody's choosing side. But when it comes to people that are in Africa, nobody gives a flying fuck. Literally, nobody gives a flying fuck. Like, this has been done for years. There's not even a third of the coverage of what happens gets done here. And you think about it, and you're saying, well, what's the difference here? Is it government? Is it resources? Is it color of their skin? Like what is the difference? Like, I don't understand, why doesn't he get as much media coverage? Why we're not fronting sides here? Like, everybody's either pro Israel or pro Palestine, but nobody is pro civil war, pro refugees in Sudan. And again, I want to link the article if you want to know more about it. But it's kind of a thought that you say, like, wait, what the hell is happening here? Like, why is this? And we check the children, and and if we look at this other article that's happening here, over 10 million, again, 10 million children have been displaced. They've been in a war zone. 10 million Sudanese children have been in war zone. It says here more than 10 million have been in active war zone and less than 5 kilometers away from gunfire, shelling, and other deadly violence over the past year of the war that says save the children. Again, only the same people that we're seeing, the UN, OGNs and things like that, are the only ones that you can get this type of coverage from. But if you go to an African news website, I don't
Juman
think
is one
there's
of 4
audio in
million
here,
Sudanese children
so I
estimated to have
cannot
been
play it.
displaced internally and across
But
borders
again,
in the
there's
years
tons
since
of
fighting broke
Sudanese
out between the army and
refugees in
apparent.
different places. Now, I will say this: this is one of the main reasons the Sudans are able to flee, which is something that, to my understanding, the Palestinians can't. They're kind of locked in a cage and in some sort of form, which is kind of crazy, to be honest with you. Because I mean, why would you lock them in and bomb them? And again, the narrative is that Hamas is there and they are infiltrating within, so they don't want to let them escape. And I'm like, really, 7 million people? Like 7 million people? You don't want to let escape? Because maybe, I mean, let's say that Hamas, the whole organization, is, let's give a number of 10,000. Let's say 10,000 people. So, which is a lot. I don't think there's 10,000 people in Hamas. Maybe there are. I'm not quite sure. I'm not 100% sure. But let's say that there is 10,000 people. You mean you're going to lock 7 million people to catch 10,000 people, and you're going to kill as many people as you want? Because, again, and I am one of the persons that I really, really don't want to take any sides, because it is a more in-depth conversation of the Israel and Palestine conflict. Again, this is something that has been taking years, and it's not a brand new thing. You can YouTube it, you can do your research and check. But having that said, how the hell do African countries don't get? They're in the same predicament. Some of them are in civil wars. Some of them are being attacked by other countries. Some of them are being in genocide, charged with genocide, but they don't get half the coverage. Not forget half, not even a quarter of the coverage. And it's a bit sad that's the environment that we are in. This is the environment that we cultivate. And again, I don't want to sound like, oh wait, is it because of the color of skin? It's an easy cop out to say that, and I could say, yeah, it could be. But really, I mean, the only thing that the difference a lot of this is just their location and little things like that. But they're almost in the same situation. Again, not taking away from any other situation that's happening, but it's incredible how they don't get the coverage. Is it because the United States sells weapons to Israel? Is that why is it more? Or is it because they fund Ukraine? Or is it Europe? I don't know, to be honest with you. So leave a comment and let us know what's going on. So going back, we are going to talk a little bit of Canadian news. Now, if you don't know, the Canadian government is having a housing crisis, which is populating a lot of the homelessness in the country. Right now, the government is trying to do some type of affordable housing and some type of, taking some red tape out to build more homes. And one of the things that I am very, very, very keen to know is, how is this going to play provincially? Now, if you never lived in Canada, how it works in Canada is that there is a federal government and there is a provincial government. Now, just because the federal government is acting in this, it doesn't mean that the provincial governments are acting, because the provincial government, let's say right now, the party that's ruling is the Liberal Party, but in the province that I'm in, which is New Brunswick, there is a Conservative Party, and they take all their rules and laws, and they do everything that's called in the province. So just because the federal government is working on it, that doesn't mean that the provincial government is going to be working on it. So it's something that it's going to be a little bit difficult to know. We're going to have to give it a little bit of time and see how this is going to play out. I definitely think Canada as a country needs to be a bit more proactive with the red tape. So I definitely think that we need to kind of get loose when it comes to building homes. In New Brunswick, we don't have that much of a housing problem, honestly. Yes, housing has become pretty high compared to a few years back. Probably double or triple, to be honest with you, in the last space of three to 4 years, which is a lot. Rent that used to be maybe 800, now it's 1,600 to 2,000, which is a lot. It's definitely a lot. But we're gonna have to wait to see how this goes. So we're gonna wrap it up. Again, this is the first episode. Hopefully you have enjoyed in Let's Come in Time. But before we do that, we gotta give respects to one of the people in Canada that actually made things happen. Philip, Dan Philip, he was the former president of the Black Coalition in Quebec. He died at 87 years old. This man, he was originally from Haiti, or his family was from Haiti, and he did a lot in the Quebec province. And shout out to him and his family. He led the coalition for about 40 years, defending the rights of Black Quebecers and promoting equality. So these are the Canadian heroes that we don't hear about. And again, shout out to Dan Philippe. Rest in peace, my brother. Hopefully we get more people like you. And shout out to DJ Mr. C that just passed away as well. DJ Mr. C was a hip hop DJ. He discovered a little known rapper called Notorious B.I.G. and he just died at the age of 57. So shout out to him. So if you like what we're doing, comment, share, like us. We're going to try to be on YouTube. We're going to try to be in your podcast feed. And again, this is a work in progress. So hope you enjoy it. Peace out.